What's up, YouTube? TCB here, with the deck profile for the deck that I have been running at locals over the past few weeks. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, so I have main deck, side deck, and extra right here. I'm going to start things off with the main deck. So the deck that I chose to play at locals over the past few weeks is Mermails. The reason why I chose Mermails is because it's kind of a really good deck to get back into the game with. I needed to brush up on rules, I needed to brush up on chains, I needed to brush up on a lot of aspects of a standard duel. And Mermails are a really cool deck in that the effects are so diverse, and the chains are oftentimes very complicated, so it kind of just teaches you how to play the game really well. And it's a really fun deck to play. You really have to strive in order to get your wins. So to start things off, I ran a single Tidal Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls. This card is a staple in any Mermail deck. Pretty much every single monster in a Mermail deck are water monsters, and it just puts constant pressure on the opponent, being able to special summon it every single turn, and it matches up well with the other level 7s to make XYZs. Starting off the Mermail monsters, I run 2 Abyss Megalo. I've seen a lot of people only run one of these. It honestly depends on your build. I run a few more water monsters than perhaps a standard Mermail build, or at least the Mermail builds that I have seen online that have topped regionals as of late. This has just never felt cloggy for me. I've actually won games in which I opened up double Megalo, so it's never really been an issue running 2 Megalo for me. Next, we've got ourselves 3 Mermail Abystius. This card is fantastic. I can't tell you enough. Like, it gets your combo pieces to your hand, as well as discarding a water monster for cost, so it activates Atlantean effects or Mermail effects, and it's just another level 7 to easily XYZ with. So that's it for our level 7s. Moving on to level 4s, I run a playset of Mermail Abyss Spike. Once again, I feel as if this card right here is absolutely necessary at 3. Discards a water monster to activate effects, and then adds a level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand. Now this deck has a lot of targets that are level 3 water monsters. And next we have double Mermail Abyss Turge. Now this card I've seen a lot of people only run one of. In my build, where there are a few more tech choices, Mermail Abyss Turge is kind of a good card. I'm going to go over the combos and why I run 2 as opposed to 1. I do remember a specific game in which I opened 2 Turge. I actually managed to win that game, but nonetheless, it could be a bit cloggy at 2. I might drop it down to 1. Alright, now starting off our level 3s, we have triple Mermail Abyssland. Once again, I feel as if this is a staple at 3. I did see a deck profile of a gentleman who only ran 2, and he said, you know, I never missed the 3rd one. I dropped it down to 2, probably like 2 weeks ago, just to try it at a tournament, and I gotta say, I really, really liked it at 3. There was a situation in which I needed the 3rd one in order to pull off a combo and actually take game, and I wasn't able to due to only running 2 Lins, and it's just 3 is very necessary. Then we have a single Mermail Abyssgund. This card is also just staple. If it was at more than 1, you would run more than 1. But for right now, just run 1. And then for my tech choices of the level 3s, I run a Mermail Abyssdine, a Mermail Abyss Osea, and a Mermail Abyss Hild. All 3 of these have interesting effects, and I'm going to go over that a little bit later in the video. Just more targets to pick out of the deck with Abyssius or Abyss Spike. So very easy to get to the hand, and some very cool effects. Then starting off our Atlantean cards, Atlantean Dragoons, once again, at 1. If it was at more than 1, I would run whatever that amount was. This card is too good. If it gets sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you know, add a Sea Serpent from deck to hand. Then we have triple Marksman and double Heavy Infantry. This is a little bit heavier on the Atlantean the Atlantean ratios than I've seen a lot of people play. I've seen a lot of people play 2 and 2 or 3 and 1. I've always felt like I've always needed 2 heavy infantry. This card is too good, and people always say it's like, oh, well, you know, if you destroy a face-up Dante, or if you destroy a face-up Shadow fusion monster, you know, that's just a plus for them. But there's just too much utility in being able to destroy a face-up card. You know, Vanity's Emptiness is played at 3, and sometimes that's the only face-up card they have, and that is what is causing you the trouble. So being able to just pull this from the deck with a few different methods and being able to pop that face-up Emptiness will allow you to make your plays. So 2 heavy infantry, not 1. And then rounding off our water monsters, I run double Gen X Undyne, and of course the 2 controller that come with it. I have a lot of issues with this card, and I have a lot of love for this card at the same time. I'm going to get into my issues with the Undyne engine probably after I do the video with, or the part of the video with all the kind of combos in it. But this card first turn, it's just too good. You normal summon, you send Dragoons to the graveyard to add Controller to your hand, and then Dragoons will activate in the grave, allowing you to add a Sea Serpent from deck to hand, which your Sea Serpents are any of the Atlantean monsters, as well as Abyss Megalo. In older builds, they also ran Mulan Glacia, the Elemental Lord, which that also is a Sea Serpent monster, as well as Deep Sea Diva. That is a Sea Serpent monster that's a target for Dragoons. Mulan Glacia, I just don't feel like it's too good, this format, only due to players having a lot of cards that when they get discarded, they get effects. Like Shadows or Burning Abyss, both of those decks, you know, they just get pluses whenever those monsters are discarded. So I feel like Mulan Glacia isn't too good. And Deep Sea Diva was just another normal summon that I would have to contend with, and I didn't want to increase the amount of synchros that I played due to Deep Sea Diva being a tuner. And then last but not least in my monster lineup, triple Battle Fader. You know, this is a very interesting tech that I run, but when you look at the current format, you know, Cliff Forts, Burning Abyss, both of those decks can just throw so much damage onto the board and just attack for game in a single turn. Battle Fader makes sure you don't die. Mermails is a very combo-heavy deck, but in a way that you need the correct pieces. Shadows and Burning Abyss are very combo heavy, however, getting their pieces to where they need them to be is effortless for them. You know, summoning Dante first turn, summoning 2 Dantes first turn is easy. It's like a breeze for a lot of Burning Abyss builds. And then Shadows, you know, if you control an XYZ monster, they're just going to Shadow Fusion, summon their fusion monster, and then get 2 effects in the grave right away. So this just ensures that you don't die while your combo pieces are coming together. It also matches up quite nicely with Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness is played in Gen X Undyne builds as a way to get Controller out of your hand, as Controller is a dark monster, and there's not too much you can do with it other than normal summon and synchro with it. So it matches up nice with Allure of Darkness. Next spell we have is triple MST. Now, this card is just too good, this format. I feel like it's necessary at 3. I mean, popping face-up Scouts, hitting Burning Abyss back row, knocking off Vanity's Emptiness. You know, there's just a lot of spell and traps that are going around this format, and I just feel like triple MST is very important. Then I run double Salvage. So this is a fantastic card. I've only seen people play 1 Salvage at most. The reason why I play 2 is because of those 3 tech cards that I run, as well as a heavier Atlantean core. So I have more targets with Salvage than a lot of the Mermail builds that I've seen. I won a game with double Salvage, actually. You know, I opened my first turn with double Salvage, I put my combo pieces together, and then just went off on a single turn, and this was the card that made all of the combos possible. So starting off the traps, I have triple Abyss Sphere. Staple. Absolutely staple. Number one target with Sphere is obviously Lind. However, there are a few other really cool combos that you can do when you aren't summoning Lind. I mean, you can even save this for your turn and summon whatever Mermail monster you want and then be able to sync or XYZ. And then, finishing off the Abyss Speller traps, I run a single Abyss Squall. This is kind of another tech choice that I run. Reason being, once again, I run more Mermail monsters than the standard Mermail build. And this is just too good. Summon 3 Mermail monsters from your graveyard. You're giving yourself XYZ fodder and Synchro fodder with this one single card. And then last, and certainly interesting to round up my trap lineup, I run a Compulse, a Torrential, a Bottomless, and a Solemn Warning. This was kind of a surprise factor aspect to the deck. All 4 of these cards are really pretty good in the current format. You know, Solemn Warning hits pretty much everything. Shadow, Fusion, any normal summons, any Synchro summons, any XYZs, Tour Guide. So this is really good to have first turn. Then we have Bottomless. Bottomless doesn't hit as much. I mean, it'll hit all of the Shadow Fusions. It doesn't hit Dante, which is one of the main concerns this current format. And then definitely the 2 stars were Torrential and Compulse. Both of these cards are just like very, very good in the current format. Torrential especially is extremely surprise factor. At my locals there is 2 different Lightsworn players, and I managed to Torrential Tribute 4 monsters against that Lightsworn player. He was not happy. He did not expect Torrential Tribute in Mermails. So that is the main deck. 31 monsters and 45 cards. I will get into why the deck is 45 cards in just a moment. Alright, now on to my extra deck. Alright, so my extra deck. We're going to start out with the Synchros, which I run 3 of. So I have a Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree. Fantastic card. 31 attack. It's a level 10. Easily summonable with any level 7 and Gen X controller. For this reason, I also considered running a Gen X ally Birdman, which, you know, could bounce a Mermail to hand or bounce an Atlantean to hand and then special summon to sync for him. But once again, I didn't really want to be too synchro heavy, and adding in that extra tuner would have forced me to perhaps run more synchro cards. Next we have Gungnir, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Once per turn, discard up to 2 cards, destroy that many cards on the field. I see a lot of people that run Black Rose Dragon. I really feel like Gungnir is just a better card as a level 7 synchro for this deck. If I had the ability to run both, I would do so. But I feel like any situation in which you are going to summon Black Rose and activate Black Rose's effect, you would have been able to summon Gungnir and blow up 2 of your opponent's cards, which would kind of end up on the same result, except none of your cards would be destroyed. And I mean, if your opponent has a response to Black Rose, they're gonna have a response to Gungnir. So either way, I just feel like Gungnir is more versatile. You know, it activates Atlantean effects from hand, so you could actually even end up destroying more than 2 cards with Gungnir. And then for my level 6, I chose to run Goyo Guardian. It's just too good not to run. You know, this deck will end with level 3s on the field, and you'll have an in-hand Gen X controller, and you'll use your normal summon for controller and summon Goyo and be able to do some... Well, to be able to get on top of the game, pretty much. You know, attack your opponent's monster and then steal it, it's a pretty good effect. So starting off the XYZs, I'm going to go into the rank 7s. We have Dracosac. I mean, that's self-explanatory. Dracosac is amazing. Saves itself from destruction, destroys your opponent's cards, high attack. Just a really good all-around card. Then we have Mermail Abyss Gaios. Mermail Abyss Gaios Just a fantastic card. Level 5 or higher monsters cannot attack, so it will protect itself from Construct. Also, during either player's turn, you can detach a material and negate the effects of all face-up monsters that have less attack than this card. So this card has 28 attack, so other than Construct, it will pretty much negate anything that jumps onto the field. Because, I mean, you can chain this effect, it is a quick effect, and it's just a really good card. And then we have number 74, Master of Blades. Only reason why I play Master of Blades is because it's really good against Burning Abyss. Master of Blades, if it is targeted, negate the effect of whatever targets it, and then destroy one card on the field. Why this is good against Burning Abyss is because of Burning Abyss' back row. This will cause Fire Lake to fizzle, and then you can destroy a card, and it will cause Phoenix Wing Blast, Karma Cut. Pretty much all of the back row that they play can't do anything to number 74 Master of Blades. It also has 27 attack, which can get over Dante. Very important. And then last for our level 7s, number 11 Big Eye. Very self-explanatory. Steal your opponent's monsters to XYZ with them, or just attack with them. A really great card. Moving on to our rank 4s, number 101. Really good card. It'll activate Dragoon's effect if Dragoons is used to make this and gets detached because this is a water monster. It's really just a good control card. Alright. Up next we got Abyss Dweller. Same thing, will activate Dragoon's effect. Really good against Burning Abyss and Shadow. If you manage to summon this and they don't have a response, what's going to happen is they're going to have to sit there for 2 turns while you negate all the stuff that happens in the grave. And then we have ourselves Evil Swarm, Exciton Knight. It's too good not to play. The situations in which I summon it's really not too common, but man, this card is it's too good. It can just ruin your opponent's field and then allow you to be able to win whatever game. Like any game that you activate Exciton's effect and you destroy like 3 or more of your opponent's cards, chances are you're gonna win that game. Then we have Laval Chain. Laval Chain is really good to just put monsters that you need on top of the deck, as well as send Title to the grave. And last for the rank 4s, we have Downward Magician. Downward Magician is a fantastic card. It matches up with my side deck pretty well, and it also just turns any rank 3 that you have into a 27 beater with piercing, so that's really good. So for the rank 3s that I play, I have a Wind-Up Zenmains. It's a classic rank 3, just a really good card. Number 47, Nightmare Shark. Detach, make any water monster be able to attack your opponent directly. If you do this to a Megalo, and that Megalo has tributed a face-up attack position water monster, you can just attack directly for 48 damage, and that's no joke. And then last but not least for my rank 3s, we have Equipped Engineer. Just a really good control card, as well as having some really cool combos. So on to the side deck. Alright, so the side deck is pretty linear. I mean, I'm only really siding against the top decks that you would come across. So we've got Triple Max C. It's good against just a lot of different things. It's good against a lot of different rogue decks that special summon a lot, such as Lightsworn Rulers or just pure Lightsworns. Really good against Burning Abyss. Believe it or not, I used it against a Battling Boxer deck. I definitely won that game, as Boxers are not too good, which is a shame, because I like Boxers, but that's beside the point. Max C, I just feel like you need to have 3 in your side deck. I mean, it just forces a Burning Abyss player to choose between giving you a lot of cards or just stopping their plays. I mean, if you chain this to a tour guide, that is just, it's fantastic. Because you're going to draw 2 if they decide to make Dante, and chances are you're going to draw more than 2 if they mill with Dante and continue plays. Then I have Double Puppet Plant. Puppet Plant is really good against both Shadows, and it's really good against Really good against Burning Abyss. You discard it from your hand during your turn, and you take control of a warrior or a spellcaster type monster. So Winda is your target in the Shadow matchup, and then in the Burning Abyss matchup, your target is Dante. So you discard Puppet Plant to take control of your opponent's Dante, and then as Dante is a level 3 XYZ, you then overlay with Downer Magician, and then, bam, Dante is no longer an issue. And if Dante has all of its material, which I don't believe it would, but if Dante were to have all of its material, Downard would be at 29 attack. Alright, next we have double Fairy Wind. I would honestly play 3 Fairy Wind if I had the chance. I just have yet to acquire a third one. It's really good against a lot of weird different decks. I've sided against Bujins once. You know, it's a response to Tenki. It clears Kaiser Coliseum, because Mermails hate Kaiser Coliseum. That is the worst card you can see. Another reason why I play double Heavy Infantry, because that'll just pop Kaiser, but Fairy Wind is an answer to a lot of stuff, and it's just really good against Clifford's. Then we have a double non-fusion area. I side deck this because I do not main deck Vanity's Emptiness. This is just really, if you chain this to a Shadow Fusion or a L Shadow Fusion, like, good game. It's pretty much just as effective against Shadows as Vanity's Emptiness is, except this won't die due to its own effect, so it'll just sit there, and you can special summon all you want. So that's why I run non-fusion area in the side deck, just because it's a really good answer to Shadows, and it doesn't affect me in any single way. Then I run triple Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. Once again, really good against Shadows, really good against Burning Abyss. Just an all-around, it's really a broken card. Then I run triple Light Imprisoning Mirrors. This is definitely also for my locals, because I mean I have 2 Light Swarm players, a Satellar Knight player there. It's just really good to have. There's a lot of rogue decks that you could run into that are light-based. Always good to have an answer, such as Light Imprisoning. I may drop it down to 2, just to free up a little bit of room in the side deck, but we will see. Alright, so that is the main, extra, and side. So I'm going to get into why I dislike the Undyne engine. So this is why I really dislike the Undyne engine. So you've got your 2 Undynes and your 2 Genix controllers. The reason why I run a 45 card deck is to make the Undyne engine more consistent. I know that's kind of counterintuitive, but the reason why I say that is because you do not want to open controller. Opening controller is literally the worst opening hand you have, and I've opened double controller. The thing that you need to understand about Genix Undyne is if you do not have a legal controller target in your deck, you cannot send the water monster to the grave. That's really frustrating. I understand the idea behind Genix Undyne. You know, it increases consistency. It allows you to add Megalo from hand. It allows you to send Atlanteans from the deck to the graveyard to get their effects. It can send Tidal to the graveyard. But at the same time, it decreases your consistency pretty heavily. Let me explain like standard plays. Like the best thing that you could do is just open Genix Undyne and no controller and have your Dragoons in your deck. Now I've opened up a game with an Undyne, a controller, and Dragoons in the opening hand. Like, these are the inconsistencies I'm referring to. But let's look past that for now. So you normal summon Undyne and you add controller to hand, and then you add whatever Sea Serpent you'd like. But now you have wasted your normal summon, and you have added a monster from your deck to your hand that also needs to be normal summoned. Plus, as this is a 45 card deck, you may not open up Undyne, but you still wanna get to Undyne because Undyne just really opens up some plays. So you will look to cards such as Mermail Bisspike. Mermail Abyss Spike, when it's normal or special summoned, you can discard a water monster to add a level 3, so you will add Undyne. But if you've normal summoned for your first turn to add this, then you normal summon next turn to add a monster that needs to be normal summoned. I don't really want to rely on my normal summon that heavily. On top of that, the Undyne engine forces you to run synchro monsters. The extra deck of Mermails is so tight, and then on top of it, you are running an engine that requires you to fit synchros in because the synchros are too good not to play. Then, even more, you have to run Allure of Darkness as a method of getting controller out of your hand. I played a game quite recently in which, you know, normal summoning both of my Gen X controllers to synchro was the correct play. The very next turn after normal summoning the second controller, I top-decked Allure without a Battle Fader, so I didn't have a target. Allure of Darkness was just a dead card in my hand. So you're really giving up a lot of consistency to gain consistency, and I don't really feel like that should be the proper way to run the deck. From this point on, I'm going to strive really hard to cut out the Undyne engine and just run pure Mermails with a lot of water monsters. And you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'll just go back to the Undyne engine. But I really feel like I can make Mermails work without this engine. So those are my issues with the Undyne engine. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me. A lot of people swear by Gen X Undyne and Gen X Controller, but I have just decided I don't really like it and I don't feel like it's for me. Alright, so next I'm going to go over some of the really cool combos that you can do with a Mermail deck. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is talk about my 3 tech choices. So we have a Mermail Abyss Hild. No, that's Gund. Gund is not a tech choice, that is a staple. So we have Abyss Osea, and then we have Mermail Abyss Dyne. These are 3 really cool cards. Abyss Hild, this is a very important one. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Mermail monster from your hand. Only activate the effect once per turn. So this is really cool. It never misses timing because it's an if card. That is very important for a combo I'm about to show you. Then we have Mermail Abyss Osea. You can target 1 Mermail monster you control, then from your deck you special summon any number of level 4 or lower Mermail monsters from your deck whose combined levels are less than or equal to the level of that monster. So that's a bit confusing, but if you have a level 7, then you can summon this, target that level 7, you can summon a level 3 and a level 4, or 2 level 3s, and then that level 7 will get sent to the grave. And then we have Abyss Dyne. Abyss Dyne is one of my favorite cards right now. It's got some really cool aspects to it. So it has 2 effects. You can only activate 1 of these effects once per turn. But its first effect is if this card is added from the deck or the graveyard to your hand, you can special summon it. Now, if this card is special summoned by the effect of a Mermail monster, you can special summon a level 3 or lower Mermail monster from your graveyard to the field. So like a really, really standard play that will set up an XYZ next turn is, say if you have a set Abyss Sphere. So this is in your deck. Your opponent, you know, tries to attack or says, you know, my turn is over. You Abyss Sphere, summoning Lind. They're either going to attack it or they're going to stop their attack, but either way, this is going to go to the grave. Now, there's a lot of different Mermail monsters you can summon off of Lind, but if you summon Dyne, Dyne has been summoned by the effect of a Mermail monster, and then can special summon Lind back to the field. You can only use the effect of Lind once per turn, but if you're doing this during the end phase and these stay on the field, you have now created an easy rank 3 for next turn, or perhaps even an easy level 6 synchro. So that is one of the reasons why I like Dyne. Another reason why I really like Dyne is because if he's added from the deck or sorry, apologies, if he is added from the graveyard to the hand with anything, its effect activates to special summon. So the cards that add from graveyard to hand are Salvage and Turge. So this is why, or this is one of the reasons anyways, why I was playing double Turge. Turge is really good regardless because you can add the Atlanteans to your hand, you can add many different things. But if this gets summoned, discard, and then add this from graveyard to hand, you immediately special summon it. Now it's a level 4 and a level 3, but we will assume that you have further plays. You wouldn't just do this and end with this field. Another thing, just Salvage, add an Abyssdine to hand, and another level 3. Abyssdine is immediately special summoned, and then you can normal summon the other level 3 and be able to XYZ into some answers for your opponent's plays. So that's one of the reasons why I like Abyssdine. So here's a really cool play that you can do with Osea, Hild. You need 2 level 4s and a Teus. Now the Teus and the 2 level 4s need to be in your hand, and these 2 need to be in the deck. So this is how the play works. So you just have these 3 cards in hand. You're going to discard to special summon. Let me put my grave right here. My grave is going to be off the screen. So you're going to discard the level 4 to special summon. This will allow you to add a level 3 or lower monster from your deck to your hand. So you're going to add Abyss Osea and normal summon it. You're then going to activate Abyss Osea's effect, special summoning from your deck a level 3 and a level 4. Now your level 3 needs to be Abyss Hild, and your level 4 can be anything that you have. So we're just going to say it's the Turge from the grave. This was in the deck. Now Abystius gets sent to the graveyard, and you've got 2 level 3s and a level 4. The level 4 needs to be special summoned in face-up attack position. So next you're going to overlay into Mequipped Engineer. Mequipped Engineer, you will activate it, detaching Abyss Hild to change your face-up level 4 to defense. Now because Abyss Hild is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a mermail monster from your hand. So you're going to special summon the other level 4. Now, I mean, as it's Pike, you could activate Pike's effect, discard a water monster, you could do all that, but now you've got 2 4s for another XYZ. And for the current format, you could summon Dweller, and Dweller could shut down the plays of Burning Abyss as well as Shaddolls, and it's protected by Mequipped Engineer, who during your opponent's current turn can change Dweller to defense and be able to make sure it stays on the field. Another thing that you could do, depending on what plays you have, is you could summon Laval Chain and detach and send Title to the grave if you have an XYZ play. Which, if you do, if you had, say, another Teus in hand for some reason, you know, you could discard, summon Teus, detach, send Title, and then be able to summon Dracosac. And then that is a really strong field. Mequipped Engineer, Laval Chain, and Dracosac. So that is another reason why I really like these 2 cards, both of which are addable with Salvage. Thank you for watching the deck profile of the deck that I have been running at Locals. If you have played Mermails in the past, feel free to share some of your favorite combos below in the comments section. As always, I choose a winner from the comments section of the previous video to receive a free pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Today's winner is... Do you want a pack of free Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Just like this video, comment below, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. As always, thank you for watching, love life, and have yourself a fantastic day.